Hi, my name is Rutendo Nyamuda, and welcome to another exciting, phenomenal episode of In My 20s. In My 20s. Coming up on today's episode, we sit down with beauty influencer and the lady behind 7 Days, 7 Faces. So sit back, relax, get your makeup on, and enjoy today's episode featuring Foyi.
And so to start off today's discussion, I would love you to kind of introduce yourself with a 10-second elevator pitch. So imagine you've just stepped into the lift with someone who you absolutely love, and you're just like, you literally have 10 seconds to tell them. For me, it would be like an Oprah, who you are, a little bit about yourself, what you enjoy, pretty much that. How would you summarize yourself in 10 seconds?
In 10 seconds. Wow. Okay. Well, 10 seconds is just a little bit unrealistic, but hi, my name is Foyin. I'm a 20-something-year-old beauty and lifestyle content creator, social media freelancer, all-round hot girl, the multi-talented. And that's all you need to know.
Hey, I love it. Very solid. For someone who is just like, I don't know how to do this, but you know, like when you're about to accept an award and you're like, oh,
you're just like, I didn't thank anyone, I didn't prepare anything. Anywho, I would like to thank Oscar,
you know what I mean?
Like, basically, it's humility. It jumps out from time to time. Do not get too used to it because, like I said, multi-talented, and humility happens to be one of those talents. So
humility is a talent. I love it. So Foyin, tell me a little bit about your background, your history. Where are you from? And essentially, how did you get to where you are today?
Well, I am from many places, and like I said, I do many things, but I am Nigerian. I'm of Nigerian descent. I was born in Zimbabwe, and then my family immigrated to SA, and I grew up in Johannesburg, did all my schooling there, and I came down to Cape Town to university, and I just haven't quite figured out how to leave yet. So that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, I've always had my one foot into the fashion and beauty industry, the other foot in school. I was in the 17 magazine Style Council. Remember 17?
Yes.
I was in the Style Council when I was in grade 9. And from there, I networked and I kept those networks. And to this day, people like Janine Jellas are super huge and influential in my life. And they've helped me along this journey. And all the people and bits and pieces that I've met along that journey, they're still helping me today in this current beauty industry. So from there, I was a blogger, because you know that's what one does. We fashion blog, we take pictures in Brahm, like we did all the things back in high school. And then I came to varsity. I went to UCT and I did a Bachelor of Business Science, specializing in marketing management, and I completed that in 2018. I did try my hand at the old corporate jiggle jaggle, you know. I got myself an old job or two, and I was just like, it's just not realistic. It's just not for me, you know. And in about September last year, I left the office and I started freelancing, doing social media management and copywriting and influencing beauty and lifestyle content creation. And that's pretty much what I do now. It's where I'm at. And yeah, we out here, gang.
Wow. So I must ask, and it's very interesting, there are a lot of people who I found come from a traditional kind of corporate higher education learning, if you will, but they have segued into this creative realm and industry. What is it about the creative space that like is very alluring, or the reverse? Why corporate if you were going to land up here?
I think you'll find that most people who ended up in creative spaces from corporate always wanted to be in creative spaces. They never really had the intention of corporate, or corporate was just, it was the safe option. It was the good backup plan. It was the sturdy backup plan. But like I said, I've always had one foot in this industry, one foot in school or at work, you know? So it was always a bit of a balancing act for me. And then one day we just had to say, we can't balance anymore. We need to pick a side. And then we chose. But I think one of the allures of the creative industry is just definitely the freedom that you get. The being in an office, well, speaking for myself personally, but being in an office I found was quite constricting, especially in terms of my time. So as a student, especially in university, you get to learn to balance your time a little bit more. Yes, you should be in lectures, you should be in tutorials, but if you can manage your time accordingly, you can do your schoolwork but do other things at the same time. And as soon as you enter the corporate working world, that sort of flexibility, that sort of freedom, the ability to own your time and dictate what you do with your time and your creative pursuits, that disappears. Like, you're constantly on the clock, you must account for every minute of every single day. And it's just, it's stifling to your creativity, to your personhood. Like, it gets a bit too much. And if you are naturally creative, or you are a multitasker, or you are like in different pots at the same time, that kind of environment just doesn't grow you. And if anything, you feel a bit stifled in that environment. So I think that's why a lot of people have started transitioning. And even just in the COVID times where we have to work from home, a lot of people have learned that flexibility and that dynamism, like, that is like so powerful, and being able to own and control your time is just, it's super underrated.
So true, so true. And tell me, are you working full-time and content creating, or is the content creation beauty side your full-time job, hustle, mission?
It is the full time, but I am a woman who does many things. So these are all side hustles. I have many side hustles. I will not say that there's a particular main hustle, but if there was, it would be the beauty influencing and content creation. But I do have other side hustles. I am a makeup artist. I am a writer, social media manager. So those are all little things that I also do at the same time. But then this is the public job. This is the one people know, and then everything else happens in the background.
And we are in the middle of a pandemic still. We've had quite an intense year, and the creative industry, I mean, all industries have been impacted really severely, but the creative industry as well, I find, interestingly enough, is one of the industries that a lot of people are like, well, it could be a first to go kind of a thing. A lot of job losses across the different sectors. How has it impacted you, especially for someone who is, works for themselves, whose hustle is there? It's you, you're not working for a company.
Or me, all the time. I will say it was definitely stressful, to say the least. Because a lot of my job, well, like the public facing job at the very least, involves a lot of interaction with other people. It relies on products launching. It relies on events happening. It relies on networking and interacting with other social media creators, shooting with other people. So it definitely was like a bit of a whirlwind for me, like what's going to happen next, what's going to happen, like from a brand side of view, like, will they stop all their product launches? Will they still be commissioning content? What will the content be? A lot of things got pushed back, cut off. So it was definitely a very, very scary time. But the one thing that I do love about creative industries is that I find that they're much easier to change. They're much more adaptable. They're a bit more dynamic. So when things changed, they changed quickly. They had to adapt. They had to pivot, and that pivoting allowed a lot of us to keep our jobs, to grow our jobs, to a lot of people started their own businesses during this time, and they've been able to grow them successfully. I personally have had like glory to God, a good year. And I was very, very stressed about it because of all of the influences of the pandemic. Like in other areas in my life and my jobs, like my hours got cut with my agency and stuff like that, because their big brands, their corporate clients, they had to do some maneuvering and budget cuts and like shifting around of their spend. So it definitely was a give and take in many different areas. But the resilience of the creative industry is definitely something to applaud, because they made a plan and we adapted and we moved,
Yeah, sure. So very, very interesting. And kind of one thing that I'm actually quite interested to hear, because I heard you speak about, you being this very interactive, engaging person. Were you affected by the lockdown on an emotional perspective, especially as a creative, especially that level 5, where we were told you can't even leave the house? Like, how was that for you? I have flashbacks like it was a movie, but how was that?
I literally can't believe we did it. Like, I can't, like, it's literally a fever dream. The whole of 2020 has been a fever dream, but especially level 5, like, it's literally unreal. Like, no, the first few months of lockdown were incredibly difficult, were incredibly dark. Like, thank goodness I at least lived with my sister, so we had each other. But even beyond that, all day, every day, the same 4 walls, like, I tried to push myself to create eventually, because I knew that this was something that wasn't actually going away. So we just had to adapt. But I did give myself time to just like feel the emotional and mental brunt of it all. And it was a big brunt. Like a lot was going on at the time. It was a very like hectic time, physically, emotionally, mentally. So I did allow myself to just feel what I needed to feel, to take the time off, to be down, like not to force positivity and to force creativity, because it just wasn't happening. There was nothing there. There was nothing to force. So clearly, like you can't pour from an empty cup. So I allowed myself to let my cup get slowly refilled. And then from then I was like, okay, we need to adapt our strategy. We need to start thinking about things that we can do, ways that we can create from home. Me and my tripod, we became friends, trying to shoot some home fashion content all around my house, outside on the balcony, in the parking lot of the apartment. Like we tried everything. Like I literally was just like, we need to do something, so something needs to be done. So we made a plan and we kept it moving. Like it's so much nicer now to be able to go outside and stuff. But this was a good test of my ability to keep things going, because as difficult as things were for me, it's weird, but some people needed me to kind of perceive normality in order for them to perceive normality. Like they needed to see that I was going to keep going, that things were going to keep moving, that we were going to keep on going with life, so that they could be like, okay, life was going to keep going, you know? So we had to take our downtime, but then when we got up, we got up.
If anything, this season has definitely bred or kind of improved a lot of people's resilience, because I feel like no matter what comes next, I think we have a society, a creative culture now built on resilience. You can take things and you're like, cool, it's fine.
It is what it is. We move. We have a we move culture. And it's one of the weirdest things, because even when I was driving with my sister and I was taking to the airport, and we were just driving around and we were seeing people in school and walking around and going to cafes, and everyone was just wearing masks. And I was just like, we really just adapted. Like they said, this is life now. And we were just like, okay, this is life. Like we got to do what we got to do. Like obviously there was a bit of resistance, there was fighting, but we weren't out there protesting our right to not wear masks. We were just like, okay, this is life. Cool. We move, you know, and we adapt.
This is true. We move. Hashtags everywhere. All right. So switching gears into kind of the main discussion of today's topic, and that is kind of like the beauty industry and the content industry. You are undoubtedly one of, if people ask like, name your favorite beauty, YouTubers or people in the beauty space, like, who's there? Like you come up. It's like one of those, it's a no-brainer, it's a no-doubter.
Love to see it.
So I actually want to start with kind of like understanding content, because the one thing that you do incredibly, and yes, one of the main things is on the beauty side, but you mentioned the likes of fashion and writing, and there are a whole bunch of other pockets you're in. When it comes to creating as a whole, as a content creator, what is your process? How do you process, especially when your mind is split? You're not just X. There are multiple things you do. What are your processes?
Well, I think the one thing that I do that I think a lot of people do as well is also just to define what content we're creating. So on these various platforms, different content lives at all the time. Like you can't always just copy and paste content across different platforms. So you need to understand firstly which content will live on which platform, and then like to kind of like subdivide that content onto that platform. So I know on YouTube, I first and foremost do beauty education. I do tutorials, I do reviews, I do get ready with me's, and then I also do lifestyle content. I do vlogs and I do some fashion content. So I know those are my content pillars, and that is the type of content that I will create on YouTube. On Instagram, I know that it is primarily lifestyle and beauty. So they like to see where I'm eating, where I'm going, the places that I've been, what my face looks like, what products I'm using, tutorials, how to achieve a look, how to do lashes, things like that. Like the little bite-sized how-to tidbits, product unboxings, and lifestyle come with me to everywhere. That's the type of content that lives on Instagram. Then on Twitter is literally just where my brain vomits. Like that's the only way that I can describe it. It is an amalgamation of everything. It is obviously, that is my biggest platform, and it is that way because it is so unfiltered. That is the only platform that I feel like isn't so strictly defined, and that is by choice and by design, because Twitter is my most authentic platform because I tweet my brain constantly. So that's the one where you get to interact with me on a more personal level, on a constant level. You get to see all of the bits from YouTube and Instagram, but then it's all just like literally vomited out on my Twitter feed. But so once I've defined what goes where and how those will live on those platforms, the process kind of I plan into like what I want to teach, what value do I want to provide, what is the aim of what I want to achieve on each of these platforms. So Instagram, for example, I know that I want to have these bite-sized tutorials, but I know that on YouTube, we can go longer format. We can talk more. We can give more advice. We can give more skills, tips, tricks. So there are ways that I can film in one sitting for the different platforms, but I just have to edit and like be conscious of it while I'm filming, that these are going to live on different platforms with different objectives on those different platforms. So I will film accordingly, edit, bring it down into Instagram, and there we go. We have product details, we have everything on Instagram. Oh, I bought some new stuff, so we'll shoot some fashion content in some lifestyle locations so people can see the new fashion, new trends, new items for the next upcoming season. Oh, a brand wants to showcase new products. That's where the flat lays live, with all the product information on Instagram as well. So we plot according to what needs to be achieved for the week, what campaigns are coming in, and also kind of just what I want to teach and showcase for the upcoming week or month or however long. So it isn't as clearly or cleanly defined because it's a very dynamic field. It's a very dynamic industry. It changes. I can say I'm going on leave next week, and then tomorrow I'll get a brief that wants 6 deliverables by the end of, so leave disappears. And that's the beauty and the frustration of the industry. So I can only kind of define the process and the content creation and like the kind of behind the scenes and plotting in such like vague terms, because the actual nitty gritty of what I do every day and like how I actually create the content, it's very up in the air. It all depends on where it's going and who it's for, if it's sponsored or not. Like those are the kind of variables that come and go a lot in this industry.
Yeah. And the thing about, obviously I spend quite a bit of time with creatives, but even just listening to you now, I don't think people fully understand the creative hustle.
They don't think it's work, child. They don't think it's work. They think I just go to lunch and I do my makeup, child.
No, but you have so much fun. Or if you're stressed or you're going through like an intense moment, they're like, but what's stress? Like, what's stressing you out?
Ooh, you have to take a picture. Ooh. I'm like, child, you do it.
Or
you do a flat lay.
You're going to an event and they're just like, well, again, you look great. And you're like, I'm going to work.
This is work.
This is work. But about the hustle and also what you said is there is a lot that goes into it. There are also different industries that filter into this creative industry. So there's the business savvy side, right? So needing to make sure that, you're making money, making a profit, how you're even talking about YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, the different places, the different platforms. There's strategy behind that. And then even going down to the legal side is, and it's something, there are two things that I wish more people would discuss with creatives earlier on, so we don't get messed around, is one, the contracts, the legal side, and also just how to make money. So you're not living end to end for your rent, but you're actually building a brand, you're building a business.
100%.
Are there things that on the legal side particularly that you wish you had known earlier before you jumped in, or that you wish someone had told you at least?
I think for the most part, I have been very lucky because my degree was actually the perfect degree for me at the right time in my life. It was a very well-rounded degree, the business science degree, especially in marketing. So I feel like I actually got a really holistic business mind from it. I'm also an Alan Gray Orbis fellow. So like from my experience with the fellowship, like I feel like I have a very holistic knowledge of all things business. So I've been very lucky in that regard. Shout out to BizLaw 1, because that literally has saved my ass more times than I can count. But like that is the type of knowledge that I do freely and willingly give to other people, because they don't know that all of these brands are trying to bamboozle you in these contracts. Like some of the contracts that I've been sent have been so ridiculous. I'm just like, who in their right mind would sign away their life for product? Like it literally doesn't make sense. They will ask for exclusivity and this and that, and you can't put a competing product or brand or category in your feed ever for the next year, but then they won't pay you for that type of thing. Like, a lot of people don't understand what comes with exclusivity when a brand requires that of you, the campaign duration, of the remuneration and payment terms, even just the definitions of things. Like, people get very sneaky in their terminology, and if you're not woke about it, you will just get bamboozled and you'll get in trouble, because the day a brand decides to actually take you to court, you signed it. Get me? So the big tip that I will give right now for fun and for free is that if you're sent a contract, number one, don't sign anything you don't understand. So if you read it and you don't understand it, send it back unsigned and ask lots of questions. You can also ask them to change things, or you can change things in the contract. You can cross things out, you can reword things, and just sign or initial next to what you've changed. If they accept the contract after you've done that, then it's legal, it's actionable, and it's done. So those are my 2 tips for you. Ask lots of questions, get clarity, and then take out or change what you don't agree or don't like, sign next to it. If they accept that, it's legally acceptable.
Oh, I really, really love that and really appreciate that, because I think it's so easy just to see the money's coming in and, I'm finally getting paid to do this thing that I've been passionate about.
You don't see the T's and C's. You don't see the T's and C's.
Yay. But really, really, really good and sound advice as well. Thank you for that. So tell me about, drumroll, 7 Days, 7 Faces. Because if there are things that happen on my feed that I really, really appreciate and enjoy at 7 Days, 7 Faces, it's not something I can participate in because
not yet.
Not yet. I'm gonna build up to it, right? But it's just it's so inspiring and so beautiful and such a interactive and engaging way to get people to step outside their comfort zones, but also just have some fun. So tell me about 7 Faces. What was the idea behind it? What was the idea behind it?
Yeah, so basically lockdown happened and it was lit. So at the beginning of lockdown, which was originally supposed to be 21 days, imagine only doing this for 21 days. That would have been hilarious. Kay Ngonyama, she's another beauty influencer. She was like, okay, guys, we need to keep our spirits up for the 21 days. So let's do 21 beats for Kay. So every day, let's just get up, let's do our makeup, let's just feel good and feel pretty. And I was just like, I see you. But see, it's just not realistic right now. The way my mental health is set up, it's just not going to happen. So I watched that happen and I was like, that's so great. I want to do something like that. I need to get my creative juices flowing again. So I was just like, 21 days is just not realistic. So how about just 7? I can commit to 7. And I wanted to use that as an opportunity to once again get my creative juices flowing. So I was like, let me come up with some prompts. Let's make it a challenge. Let's make things interesting. And this is also makes it easier for other people to participate because they don't have to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my face today? I've done soft glam for 5 days in a row. I can't do another soft glam look. Like, I've already told you what to do. So now you just have to get up and do it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, this is grand. Let's do it. We've got 7 days. We've got 7 faces. Let's do it. And then it kind of just took off from there. The first one, I promise you, it was like me and 5 other people. We were just there. I was just there doing my face, and then I was like, okay, let's do it again. In June, that's when I really got out of my lockdown rut. And I was just like, okay, let's push. And the second one got a bit bigger. They got some media recognition from it. And then like other people were like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I want to do the next one. And I was like, cool, we'll do it again in August. So in August, we did it again. And that one blew up. That one was huge. Like, so many people didn't even know that there were 2 other rounds before that, but they were just like, this thing, yes, let's do it again. And then literally right before it ended, even people were like, oh my gosh, when's the next one? And I was just like, oh, rest. Have you done makeup for 7 days in a row? Please don't ask me to do this again for at least another 2 months. So I was like, okay, October, let's do it. And let's go big. Like, let's go huge. So I got a few brands on board. I got House Wine and Essence Cosmetics. Shout out to them. They are literally like, they backed me. They believed in me. Like, and I'm so happy with the turnout. Like, it was also a big deal. And that spread from Cape to Cairo in terms of timelines. Like, everyone saw it and everyone just had fun with it. And people really committed. They got wigs, they got props, they were literally going all out. And I was just like, this is what I wanted to see. All my life, I've literally just wanted to build community. And like digitally, I'm a digital native. I grew up on the internet. So an internet community, a digital community is literally it's my safe haven, it's my safe space. And that's the kind of thing that I wanted to create for other people, especially in the beauty industry. So seeing that this had taken off and it was so affirming for so many people across genders, across class, across race, like across countries, like they just came through and they enjoyed this challenge and they affirmed each other and they were standing each other's looks and following each other, putting each other on. Like it was really just the biggest, most humbling and affirming time ever, because I was like, I did that.
Yeah, I love that. I did that. And what has been your favorite face or top three?
Oh, that is so difficult because there really have been so many amazing faces across the challenges, but there are literally two that stand out immediately in my mind, or not even stand out, but I just can recall. There was one, I think her name is Ria. She did a recreation of a Rihanna look. It was a Vogue cover. So it was the one with the flowers where she had those thin eyebrows, and like literally she redid the entire thing. And it was like stunning. It was absolutely perfect. And then the next one was from this most recent challenge. It was the music video challenge. And this girl dressed up as Pop Smoke. And I swear it was amazing. It was the most perfect thing I have ever seen in my life. Like she nailed it. Like she looked exactly like him. It was so like funny, but perfect. It like literally made my day. So those are the two looks that I can just recall because they were just so like amazing. But when I tell you that people showed up and showed out, like they were so many incredible looks. Like just scroll through the hashtag one day on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. It also kind of blew up on TikTok, which was unintentional because I wasn't even really on the platform for most of the time. But like it blew up there as well. And like the people really did some incredible stuff.
Wow, wow. And this speaks to the fact that, I mean, I think when we start things, oftentimes we think about yes, you need to think about the big picture, but you need to start small. If you
You
had
need to
stepped
start.
in and were just like, day one, I'm going to have 1 billion people on this thing, I'm going to have so many sponsors, and then you have 5, you would have been like, oh my gosh, like I'm a failure, like this is not going to work,
Yeah,
like, you know, etc. But there's something about consistency and there's something about passion,
exactly.
about drive that just keeps it going. What was your propeller? What was the thing that just said to you, let's do it again, let's do it again, oh, it's growing, let's do it again, what kept you going?
I think more than anything, I did it for myself. And I think that is probably one of the most key drivers, because if you're trying to do a lot of things for other people, when you don't get that external validation, you'll often want to quit or you'll give in too easily. Because, yeah, like if you don't get that affirmation that you were seeking, you will just get discouraged. And I find that I was doing it for myself because I needed to create, I needed to do something with my time, I needed to feel better in lockdown. I needed that sort of catharsis, and makeup has kind of always been that mode of expression for me. So that is why I created that challenge. Like mostly it was just for myself. And then to see other people pick up on that and to want to do it and keep asking me to do it again, and brands wanting to get in on that action, that was just affirming and humbling, because I was like, okay, I was on the right track. I was picking up on a sentiment that other people also shared. And that was the value in it for me. It wasn't that I was trying to create something viral for other people to pick up on. It's like I was doing something for myself and other people resonated and they came to me because that's what they needed too. Like so many people commented that this challenge actually helped their mental health because they needed something productive, they needed to feel good about themselves, they needed a focus and like an output, and giving them 7 tasks for 7 days just to wake up, do your face, wake up, do your face, like that sort of like regiment in something that is so creative and exciting and dynamic, like that really helped them with their mental health. And I'm like, that's so amazing and touching because that's what it did for me as well. So I think it was just that kind of like full circle moment when I just realized that like I was doing this for me, but like to help other people, and they understood what needed to be done. You know what I mean? It was just really nice.
I really, really love that and appreciate that, especially on the mental health aspect. Like even getting to a point in lockdown where and I've had many conversations with friends like this, where it's just like you've been in your pajamas for so long and you haven't been wearing makeup for such a long
You
time,
know?
doing the things or going to a spa to pamper yourself. And it's kind of finding those little things, taking a walk,
Yeah.
or even like indoor exercise that kind of stimulates you. And as you've created, puts you in this community sense where you don't feel
Yeah.
like you're alone. Digital communication and connections, and
Exactly.
through 7 days, 7 faces, um, has such a positive impact, no matter what the means or the method is, but it has such a positive
Yeah.
impact on one's mental health as well.
And it really was like such a positive impact because these were a bunch of people who were strangers. They'd never seen each other. They came from TLs away and they were just like, you look so good. And then like they were just commenting on each other's. They were just interacting with the hashtag. So many people didn't even participate, but they were like, this is my favorite thing because I just get to see so much beauty happening. And and it was just like, it was just, I can't even describe the feeling of it because the one thing that I wanted to do was to encourage everyone at every level to come and participate. Because at the end of the day, it was a makeup challenge, but the challenge wasn't necessarily about your makeup skills. It was about your ability to create, to interpret as much as you can, to create something from your mind and do it on your face in the big or the small. So for some people that meant full body painting and wigs and props, but for others that meant trying out a cut crease, you know, that meant drawing their eyebrows for the first time, that meant wearing black lipstick. And we all have our different levels of our comfort zone, and we all do get too comfortable in it sometimes. And even just when someone just forces you to try something new, when they force you to go out of that comfort zone, it's something that you need every now and then. And then when you know that other people are doing it with you, you just feel a lot more comforted by it because you're not scared. You're not scared to fail, because even if I have a lot of looks that I hated, that I was just like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? But other people love them, and vice versa, you know, like people just, they put it out there and they saw that it was safe to do so because we were all in it together and we all supported each other throughout and we all had daps for each other and love for each other because we were all doing it together. And that was the community aspect that I loved the most. People who were scared to try on a regular day, they weren't scared today. And that was a message that I just wanted to reiterate, that it wasn't about your professional level. It was about you coming together and us doing this as one big squad, as friends.
Nice. I made a note for next time to participate.
Yes, yes. January 2021. Let's do it.
Hey, yeah. And tell me, so I'm quite fascinated on your thoughts and opinions as someone within the beauty space, what your thoughts are on beauty and makeup. Because I find one of the debates that keep coming up almost every year is the same thing around hair. Natural or wigs or weaves or locks or...
The daughter of the soil or Getty Slay queen, you know? Which one are you?
Exactly. And even in the wig life, it's like, how long? It's like, oh, that's too long or whatever it is. And I feel like it's the same for beauty. So some women are like, no makeup at all, a natural beauty. Other women are like, cake my face. What are your thoughts and perceptions on beauty, on wearing makeup?
You know, it would be a lie for me to not say that there wasn't some oppressive nature of makeup, that we all wear makeup because of some endogenous desire. Like there is some sort of outwards performance of femininity that we have to adhere to. And that's why the majority of people started wearing makeup. But I would not say that that is why a lot of people continue to wear makeup. And I think it would be insulting to say that everyone wears makeup to appeal to the male gaze, or they wear makeup to cover up their insecurities, or they wear makeup to lie and deceive, you know what I mean? There are people who obviously do that, but I think the one thing that I am most passionate about within this space is the fact that all of these things can coexist and there's nothing wrong with any of them. Like, obviously, we shouldn't be pandering towards a male gaze, for example, but there are reasons why some people still continue to do that. And rather than attacking them for their makeup, we should unpack, why do we need to pander in the first place? Because once you understand where that comes from, you remove that sort of need to do it, and then you relearn your relationship with makeup. And that was something that a lot of people have been doing. They've been relearning what exactly they like, what they don't like, what they want to look like, and they don't care what that looks like to other people. Like, we all need to interrogate our own relationship with it, and then move from there, so that we're coming from a very, very authentic place. So personally, my relationship with makeup is completely like aesthetic only. Like, I like how it looks. I like how it makes me look. I have a very great face for makeup. It looks really good on me and it makes me feel good. But I'm very, very comfortable in my bare face. Like, I'm very happy in my natural face. I'm very blessed also to have like generally good skin and also like good skincare and hormonal supplements. But like, for someone who wants to wear makeup to cover up their acne scars, that's perfectly fine. We need to all do what makes us feel good about ourselves. And for some people, that's makeup in the sense of every day covering up of little scars. And for other people, that's looking like an anime character every other day. That's what makes them feel good. And we should all have that space to explore makeup however we choose.
Yeah.
We're not harming anyone else. We're not hurting anyone. We're not hurting ourselves. And so why not express however you wish to choose, whether that's also your gender performance. If that helps you express your gender identity a little bit better, then do it. No one should make you feel bad about the makeup that you put on your face, because it is for you and it is about you. There was an article I read during lockdown that said that like the digital makeup community grew so much during lockdown. Like, a lot of people wore more makeup in lockdown because they weren't doing it for their outward, how do I explain? For their outward appearance to their peers. They weren't wearing their plain makeup, like their everyday face for the office. They got to sit at home and actually understand, what do I like? Like, I'm going to wear blue eyeshadow today because I feel like it. So they got to play more with makeup. A lot of like color cosmetic sales also increased because people got to just play and enjoy from the comfort of their own home, without the shame, without stigma, without any other opinions. They just got to enjoy their face. And that's why I say that people wear makeup for themselves more often than not. Like, before, you could have argued that it was exclusively for other people, but now you can see the fact that we were wearing makeup in lockdown, you can tell that was for us. And so everyone needs to obviously like understand where their desire comes from. But once you know, just have fun with it. Do whatever you want. Wear a cut crease to Pick and Pay. Like, do you?
Hey, I'm a word. I absolutely love it. I'm one of the people who decided it was a great idea during the lockdown to explore more makeup, and I must say it's such an empowering thing. And it's not like I didn't wear makeup before. I think I just didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, cool, foundation, mascara, a gloss, and I'm good to go. But I've also appreciated, and that's what I love from beauty influencers like yourself, is like when you see really well done makeup, it's like you don't think, oh my word, that's gonna look so good and I'm gonna attract the masses. You're like, oh, that's amazing.
I'm gonna look good too.
How do I do that? Or like when, and I still need to, and please, I'm not trying to like sound stupid or anything or offend anyone, but like even when people start doing the color contouring with the blue and the red, they're going, what is it gonna look like? Because it literally, when it's all blended in, it's like, oh my God.
Magic. And that's one of the things. It's like a lot of people started wearing makeup just because you were supposed to wear makeup. Like, you should wear makeup, so you wear makeup. But then this time, now you're like, I want to learn. I want to look good. I want to do things. Like, so now this sort of like discovery of makeup, it's about you. Like, you are taking it on by the horns and you are dictating your own journey with it. And that is what I love to see. Like, that sort of, and that is empowering to me, because you are choosing how you want to present and you are like investing in yourself and how you want to be seen.
Yeah. What are the two things, well, you could give more, but like, what are two things that you see when you're out and you're like, oh, I wish that, a lot more people knew how to do this aspect of makeup, that you kind of maybe just not cringe, but you just have that moment?
My two like cringes will always be brows and lashes. Always. Mostly because like we've been learning how to do our brows since 2014, and brow styles come and go, trends come and go. So obviously like you decide how you want to do your brows, but there's something about someone stuck in like 2013 with a block ass black brow and yellow bright concealer top and bottom, the wings that can fly off of your face, you get me? So there's something about that I'll always just be like, baby, blend softer, no black. No one has black eyebrows. I promise you, no one has black eyebrows. Like those are things I'm just like, soften it up. Like, let's see the hairs, or even if you don't have much hair, it's just like rest with the pencil. And like even with lashes, like we have a lot more options now in like your pharmacies, which I'm so grateful for, because before you used to get those like the fans, the ones that were just like Literally, they were so thick. When you look down, you can't see through them because they're just,
Yeah.
those types of literally fans. And I'm just like, everyone, just a fluffy lash, just a fluffy. And then we kind of went too overboard. We went to the opposite extreme. We were doing the mink 5D, 3 centimeter, whatever on your face. And I'm just like, rest, effort to rest. Just like a little bit, just bring it back, There's a balance in between. And I feel like a lot of people are still obviously on their own journeys, learning on their face, learning what they like, what they don't like. And we'll all get there. Or maybe we won't, and that's fine too. But like those are my two things where I see I'm just like, ooh, just like a little bit less, or like, ooh, just blend that, ooh, those are my two like triggers when it comes to makeup.
Noted. One thing that I really want to learn how to do better, not better, but I just never do it unless I'm at home, is the cat eye. It never has that point at the end, and the one's always like up and the other one's down. So that's my focus. 2020, I need to get the cat eye done, and then I'll go out the world and be like, I did it.
We move from there. I even struggle sometimes because we've all got that lazier eye, and my lazy eye lasers sometimes, and I'll be like, yes, nailing it, and then I'll look and be like, wow, they're in different directions. So it is a struggle for us all. Like we'll get there.
Yeah, one makeup tutorial at a time. So coming to the kind of the third section of the podcast and of the discussion is essentially the 20s journey. So I'm like obviously like nearing, I mean by the time this episode is out,
lol.
But
30.
30, I know it's hectic, but we'll still be doing this until we get to 60. But I want to know from you, how would you summarize your 20s journey thus far?
I think this chapter of my life is called like surrendering to faith, because I feel like I was quite a precocious child, one of those jack of all trades, master of most of them. What are you going to do with your life? You can do anything. Go be a doctor, go be an engineer, go do accounting, and then it's like, I don't want to do any of that. And I want to tweet. I literally, when I was 13, I said to my mom, I want to tweet for a living. Like, that's what I want my job to be. And she was just like, girl. So once my 5-year plan ended, and then I was in matric, and then I was like, okay, my next 5-year plan, we're going to be in varsity, we're going to study, we're going to do this. And then when that ended, I was just like, what the hell are we going to do now? And I was like, okay, the next responsible thing to do is to get a job. So I got a job, and then I was like, I'm not happy in my job, but what now? Like, what is my next 5-year plan? What is it going to look like? Will I get married? Will I have a baby? Will I stay in this industry? Will I move into a different industry? Will I study again? Will I quit? I just had so many questions, and it was like the first time in my life where I had so many questions and there was no like definitive or easy answer. There was no like rational next step, and that threw me for a complete loop. So I had to sit for a long time and decide like, okay, this is actually my life. I need to make decisions. And I literally had like encounter with God moment where he was just like, you know what, you've been creating content for a long time, you've been in this industry for a long time, you've been working, so just do it. Like, just trust me and just go, leave your job, go, and I got you. And at the time, like, when you look at my followings, like, it really didn't make sense. Like, I should not have quit my job, but he was just like, just go. So I was like, all right, and I just left. And to see the growth, even in just the past year and a half, to see the amount of growth and like opportunities that have come from that like leap of faith, that literal leap of faith, has just been so incredible. Like, I was someone who planned everything, and for the first time in my life when I didn't have a plan, that's when such beautiful things happened. So now, like, even when then COVID came, and then I was just like, wow, what now? Now I've got to change the plan. And then the plan changed, and that was okay. So I think I've just been like living by a lot of faith, and I've just been seeing really cool things happening in my life. So I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't know what's coming next, but I'm just really like trusting that it's gonna turn out great, because things have been pretty cool so far.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. And I love how you started by saying this chapter of my life has been called surrendering to faith, because that's how I kind of see like different years or different seasons of one's 20s journey. Because the person you are at 21, 22, 23 is not the person
Definitely.
you are at 27, 28, 29. Like
Yeah.
you're chalk and cheese. But coming to the quarter life crisis, something that a lot of people go through, you know, that moment where you're just like, oh my gosh, what is happening in my life? Mini panic.
Goodness gracious.
Have you experienced the quarter life crisis? And if you have, what has it been?
Mine has been ongoing, to be honest. Like, I don't think I've stopped experiencing the quarter life crisis. I think my entire 20s has been a quarter life crisis.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm literally only 24, so I'm mid 20s.
Okay.
And I feel like all of it has just been existential dilemmas. I think a lot. Like, I have an ADHD overactive brain, so I do think a lot. I get very anxious, and like I also get quite depressed. But as in, I have an existential crisis like once a week. Like, what am I doing with my life? Where is this going to go? What's it going to lead to? Do I still want children? Is having children an ethical thing to do? Do I want to live here? Should I move? What's going on? Should I buy a house? Should I get a car? Should I get assets? I should have assets by now. How do I have nothing in my name? Should I get a phone contract? I think I should get a Woolworths card. Maybe just a little bit of credit. Should I get another credit card? Should I take out a loan just to build a credit rating? Like, there's so much to think about all the time, like constantly. I'm just like, am I a failure? No, I'm not a failure. I'm successful. Am I though? Like, it's really just like, should I get another degree to validate my existence? What's going on? Like, I'm constantly inundated with an influx of thoughts about my life. And I'm also just like, I could die tomorrow. Now what? Like, that's where it always ends. And like, what if I died tomorrow? So I think it's been a constant back and forth mentally. And I have no answers. I really don't. I really don't.
You literally just took us on the most amazing journey, which is literally the spiral of the quarter life crisis 24/7.
And it devolves so quickly. It literally, that's why like it goes from like, what should I have for lunch tomorrow? Should I order in? And then it'll be like, will I have enough money to pay rent? And then it goes to, should I get a job? Should I go study? Should I move? Will I die tomorrow? Like, it really just devolves so rapidly. And then you're just like, okay, let's bring it back here. So what am I having for lunch?
Exactly. Or even just thinking about conversations with people. I know that's my biggest one, is I replay so many things in my mind. And then, you know, it'll usually land on, okay, cool, they're upset with me now. And then the next minute, like the phone rings and I'm like, oh my gosh, hi, oh, we're friends again.
Literally, I am so petrified of coming off as an asshole because that happens really easily. And I have like a very peculiar sense of humor that a lot of people don't get. And I'm just like, did I offend them? Oh my gosh, they didn't know I was joking. Oh my gosh, what if they think I'm a terrible person? No, they'll never see me again. Oh my God, they're going to tell other people I'm a terrible person. Like, literally, that's what happens.
Now I'm going to change my name.
You know, am I gonna get blacklisted now? Will no one in the industry speak to me again? Oh my gosh, I lose all my friends. Like, it literally, that's why I hate meeting strangers. It's so overwhelming.
It's hectic. And you know, one of the interesting things about this 20s quarter life crisis thing is the high and the low lows. Yeah. And like for such a long time, I thought it was just me. I thought I was just going crazy by myself. Everyone else looks fine. But when you
they have it all together.
Everyone is together. They're, you know, having avo on toast with no bacon and a smoothie, a green smoothie. Like, everyone is good.
You know, people are sticking to their diets. They're going to gym. Like, they're being vegan, and you're just like, wow, I could never.
Yeah, it's not for me. But again, when you start having these conversations, you have that moment of just like, I'm not alone. Everyone is going through this, and if everyone is going through this, it means that it's somewhat normal and natural. And then the next step is like, so cool, we're all going to go through it, and then on the other side, we're fine.
Oh, we're all dealing with it.
Exactly.
Everyone.
Exactly.
Damn, it's crazy. Everybody.
Like,
I think there's that one quote, I'm gonna misquote it unfortunately, but it's just like, you think you only know loss in the world, and then you read. You know, like, you think you're the only one going through it, and then you're just like, oh, someone before me. But then you're also like, oh, someone before me? Like, this is a thing? Oh, man, like, this is a part of life now? Like, yo, like, everyone's gonna, like, this is gonna keep happening? Yo, like, that's my worst thing, is just to be like, yo, so this is actually life, eh? Like we have to, like, every day. Like, every day? Like, all the, like, ever. We really just have to do this. Like, that's a bit hectic for me. It doesn't seem realistic. Like, I didn't really want to opt in, so
it doesn't seem sustainable. This is not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Like, can we change the subscription? Can we upgrade the package? Like, I'm not having the time. 0 out of 10 experience. Do not recommend. 3 stars maximum. Like, it's just bad user experience. It's just not having a good time right now.
I've read so many like quotes about like adulting. They're just like, no, can we send this back? Not gonna work. Can I speak to the manager? I've got some recommendations.
I literally saw my mother a few weeks ago and I was just like, I did not ask to be here. Why? Why did you do this to me? I was like, I did not consent to this. Who told you to do this? Who? Like, why?
It's very dramatic. Love it.
Great. But it's fine. The next day we moved on. Like, it's fine.
And so Foyin, tell me, I know you're 24, but there is a lot that you've done. There's a lot that you've done in your life. There is a lot of experiences you've had. I mean, everyone, has had multiple beautiful crises, if that's even a word, in their 20s, but also the journey is beautiful. And I think it's always interesting to know or understand what advice one would give to people in their 20s. And what I'm finding, which is weird enough, it's usually advice that you'd give to yourself. It's kind of like your younger self advice almost. But that said, like, what advice would you want to leave or give to people in their 20s? And I'm not even going to like nail it down to a specific thing, just in general when it comes to life. What advice would you want to leave with people?
I think there are a few things. Mostly just life is short, but it's also really long. Like, you have time, relax, things will work out. Like, don't panic too much about, like, the small things seem really huge because that's all you know right now, but your world will expand and things will get better, things will get easier. You'll find your place in it. Everything will make sense and you'll understand. So just like rest a little bit. And then also, I think it's just to also trust your voice. Like, you, for some reason, were brought into this earth, but you were brought into it with a purpose. You're brought into it with your own brain, your own mind, your own vision, your understanding of things. And there's a reason why those were given unto you. So stand firm in them. Like, be teachable. You're not always right. Be very teachable, be willing to learn, be constantly learning about new things, about people, but also trust your own inner voice, trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. You are able to do more than you think you can, and you're able to carry more than you think you're able to. So just trust yourself, back yourself, bet on yourself, because I promise you, you'll never lose by betting on yourself. And yeah, you'll get better. One of my friends has a quote and I literally live by it. And it's basically just like, I will get better because that is what I do. And literally that's it. You'll get better. That's what you do. You didn't get it the first time. It's okay. You'll get it the next time. Just keep going, keep trying, trust yourself, and just like relax. Enjoy life. Enjoy life. My current mission is to live as soft as I can, to treat myself, to take care of myself, to make sure that I'm enjoying the life that I'm creating. Because as important as it is to save for the future, to plan for the future and everything, 2020 has shown me that the future isn't promised. All of your plans can be taken from you in a heartbeat. Anything can happen, literally anything can happen. So the life that you're living now, make sure that it's a life that you choose, that it's a life that you enjoy, a life that you allow pockets of bliss, a life that you are comfortable with. It may not necessarily look like the life of other people, like the life on social media, or the life that you think you should be living, or the life that looks beautiful on the outside. But just make sure the life that you are living feels good to you, that you are actively working to make it a good life for you. Because no one else is going to do that work. So you have to make sure that at the end of the day, you can say, this is my life. I chose it. I'm happy here.